And welcome back, intrepid travelers! Yes, it's 80 days. We are going to be traveling further around the world. Now, last time we kicked off, we were just into India, I believe, after traveling along some of the Russian railways. So let's jump in. One thing about 80 days is the minute you boot up the game, it starts running again. So some of the time keeps going, even though you might not be ready for it, which I wasn't, which is why it's paused. So let's get back into 80 days. Let's see, where are we? We were over in Kabul, weren't we? No, we're in Herat. Kabul? Yeah, Kabul. So it's 7 o'clock at night. We can't really do much yet. And I was going to travel to Delhi because I heard a story about an airship there that might be able to hop on. And airships are usually a pretty good mode of transport. So we got to wait till tomorrow for this one, I believe. No, Delhi. Tomorrow at 8 AM. Yep. So let's hunker down for the night and get ready for tomorrow's journey. As we explored the city, we were rather unceremoniously seized by a score of British infantry and marched along the walls of Kabul, up the mountain ridge, and to the fortress of Balahissa. Monsieur Fogg protested our treatment, and I stayed silent, as befits a gentleman's valet. We were presented to a small, bespectacled gentleman in a palatial office which looked rather more like a court, despite the piles of books and surveyor's equipment littering the floor. He gave us a glance over his spectacle rims. "I am Mr. Smith, second assistant political officer to the British mission here. I do not have the pleasure of your acquaintance." Let's see, you have a fine office, or I glanced at my master. I'll say that you have a fine office. I remarked, "Alas, my friends, I felt no contrition at my rudeness, for we had been ill-handed, and I was entirely out of temper." Mr. Smith blushed. "The Durrani kings built Balahissa as a palace fort. It is a little opulent for my taste. Opulent for my current use." "That is beside the point," my master interjected sharply. "I am Mr. Phileas Fogg, and this is my valet passport. I am a subject of Her Majesty, and passing through Kabul with no small urgency." "Urgency?" The police officer's eyes flashed behind his lenses. "Pray expand a little upon the nature of this urgency, Mr. Fogg." I did not like his tone. He had the measure of my cool-eyed master. I did not like his tone. He had the measure of my cool-eyed master. That much was certain. Monsieur Fogg was not used to being on the other side of the interrogation table, and I watched Monsieur Smith closely as Monsieur Fogg explained his wager and our resultant breakneck trip around the world. I could see Mr. Smith growing more astonished with each word. Finally, he took his glasses and tapped them on the table. "Were you Russian or Persian spies?" he said musingly. "You would have a more plausible story." I could not, in all honesty, disagree. My master's ongoing willingness to risk life, limb, and valet for a bet seemed to me the height of nonsense. I fear I did not keep my thoughts from my face either, as I saw Monsieur Fogg's cold glance in my direction. Monsieur Smith's eyebrow raised in an eerie mirroring of my master's expression, and then he cleared his throat. "A friend of mine is traveling to Omsk. I consider it a great favor if you accompanied her." Where the frick is Omsk? "A particular friend?" I winked. "You could say that, I suppose. She is very particular," he chortled. "Think on it." He dismissed us and returned on his papers without a second glance. Quite a commanding fellow for a more second assistant political officer. Alright. Wow. Omsk. Yeah, that's quite the journey. Arrives tomorrow, though. Wow. Huh. Hell, yeah, we'll take that, I think. Why not? We met my friend of Monsieur Smith, Her Majesty's second assistant, political officer in Kabul at the airship dock. She was wearing a daring red dress cut in an Italian style, draped over with a mink coat lined in satin. I greeted her with a bow. Yeah, I'm polite. I greeted her with a bow, and she swept her eyes over Monsieur Fogg and myself before inclining her head. Where did Smith dig up you two? She asked rhetorically, in the plummy tones of an English aristocrat. Never mind, I am Lady Sybil. With that, she swept away, leaving me to manage both our bags and her own assortment of travelling cases. I barely had time to join her at the railing before the little Schutzlands airship jolted into the air. Further evidence of the German Empire's heavy investment in Afghanistan's infrastructure. Your character is now suave. You are quite the flamboyant type, I see. Shush. Begin conversation. Greetings, my lady. Pass. Why, yes. Omsk to... We'll talk about Omsk first. I've heard that Omsk is connected to Irkutsk by rail. Oh, we're going up to freaking Russia again, aren't we? I sold my big warm jacket. Let's see what else we can do. Let's go Irkutsk. I hear that one can travel by freight train from Irkutsk to Beijing. Beijing. They say Empress Sixie prefers her automatons to be decorative. Goodbye. Looks like a pretty good trip. We might do the Beijing one as well. This has been pretty fruitful for picking out different types of travel arrangements. The first day's travel was quite enough, drifting idly across mountain tops. I watched the scenery floating past deep valleys and impossible slopes, punctuated by even more impossible villages, and the occasional remote monastery. People, it appeared, were capable of getting anywhere, even onto a boat that sailed through the clouds. Night fell and stars lit up. Lady Sybil joined me in looking at them, pointing up at one. The dolphin, she remarked. It's the only constellation I know. Surely you know the Great Bear, I replied, tracing its form with a finger. She shook her head. No, I don't, she replied, but I'm sure I will get to know the bear intimately soon enough. With that cryptic remark, she left me. Oh, he's down to 90. Oh, we're there. We were boarded by half a dozen Imperial Russian customs inspectors a few hundred miles into their airspace. Lady Sybil came to me as they checked the pilot's papers. Someone tipped them off that they were watching for me. She searched my face. But you will help me, won't you? Tell them I have travelled with you from London. So you're a spy! She gave me a disappointed. I didn't take pains to hide it. Smith trusted you. I am in Her Majesty's service, and my mission is vital. Please. Why not ask my master? I asked suspiciously. He can contradict your story as easily as I. She shrugged. Fogg. He is a man afflicted by a deep sense of gallantry. He will lie for me. It is you whom I must convince. You're right about that, I admitted, warming to her little. You respect a woman too much to trust them blindly, she grinned like a much younger woman. You must have had a good teacher. There was a knock on the door. I opened it. Yep. Without delay, Lady Sybil shot me a last pleading look before the customs inspectors brought in Monsieur Fogg and began their interrogation through a translator. Do you know this woman? I stepped forward before Monsieur Fogg could open his mouth. Know her? I practically raised her, I boasted, despite the scant handful of years between us. I danced with her on my knee when she was but an petite chou-fleur. We have been together ever since. Lady Sybil looked somewhere between impressed and revolted. The officials gave Lady Sybil a bit of a leer, drawing their own sordid conclusions about her position in our company. I smiled pleasantly, and the officials stepped closer. Then tell me one moment, why is she English and you French? I glanced at Lady Sybil. I looked to Fogg, who stood stiffly, unable to lie without any fluidity. Our story fell apart. Oh no! Like wet tissue paper. Lady Sybil shot me a look of pure loathing that shouted in fear as the customs officials seized her and dragged her away over my master's protests. Oh no! We were invited to come aboard their ship for the rest of the journey, and thought it prudent to accept. Okay. Oh no! Ah, oh, damn you, Monsieur Fogg. You should have been. I should have known he's not a good liar. I should have just invented a story. I'm sorry. Oh, where are we going? No! We're going back to Moscow. Far out. Oh my god. Seriously? We have just done an epic, basic, like 10-day loop. 20-day loop. Oh, that kind of sucks. You're making good progress too. The Russian Zeppelin was a slickly designed, slow and ornate, and weighted down by a brass cannon. A brace of cannon. Captain Kadinsky had used the shipboard wireless to check our credentials with various custom stations. We had passed muster, and so we were cleared and treated with genial indifference. My master, however, was not so sanguine. It seemed clear that guilt weighed heavily on his mind. Alright, we got a plan. Yeah, we're just gonna, like, take the longest journey I possibly can this time. We could go to Rutsk and then Beijing. It's gonna take us 2 weeks. Ugh. 15 days to there, and there's boats. Alright. We're taking the longest journey we possibly can. I arrives in 4 days. 4 days. Let's hunker down for the night. Moscow was not a comfortable city for a Frenchman. A local composer had just written a piece people were calling the 1812 Overture, commemorating the Russian victory over Napoleon's invading Grande Armée in the fateful year. Did I already read this? Patriotic passions were at a fever pitch. I stayed very sensibly indoors. Alas, my friends, my solitude was quickly interrupted by an officious rap on the door. 2 men in clothes so plain that they were most certainly police officers invite themselves in. I had heard of the Okrani, the newly formed secret police, which investigated revolutionaries and malcontents. My luck, it seemed, had deserted me, so I resolved to make my own. They asked me my name and purpose, and I answered deferentially, keeping to the truth and not raising my eyes from the floor. They seemed skeptical about our journey, and I could not blame them. Anyone would be surprised by our supposed race, given it was a day 31 and we were only just in Moscow. At length they nodded. One removed a curious monocle and placed it into his pocket. It seems you are truthful. Crazy, but truthful. Why you travel through Russia? We do not understand. Perhaps you are heading for Vladivostok. Perhaps you have some advice for us. Yeah, why not? Perhaps we do, the policeman agreed. Vladivostok is closed to all but military personnel. If you were thinking of going that way, choose again. I think I went through that, though. The proceedings to rummage through our cases, tossing our possessions in all directions, but evidently finding nothing of interest. Do not stay in Moscow too long. Russian air does not suit Frenchmen. I took their warning to heart and quite looked forward to departing the Tsarist capital. So, the market opens at 7. Let's check it out. Yep. No warm clothes. We're screwed, I tell you, screwed! Right, I'm gonna organize a quicker trip. I can't believe we just did a giant loop. Much sad. Where did he say that we couldn't go through? Krasnovax. Yeah, that's where we actually left from. It's kind of funny though. So from there's definitely boats. I can see that boat. Oh yeah. That looks good if we can afford it. Although we can get into Yokohama and take the airship. That's an even better trip. Sounds good. It's closed to all but military personnel. So we're gonna have to go there. Kramskidsk, whatever its name is. Although Beijing will probably have some good ways to get out. Because it's like a major city. So we'll go to Irkutsk. There we go. 2 days we gotta wait. Let's just get some more money. Mr. Fogg looked quite resolved. We must once again make a demand among the bank, I fear, he declared. I regarded the bank as we entered. It was a palace of stone and shimmering marble floors, the beautiful windows, fountains, and plants. You want to make a withdrawal? The manager said. You have to wait a day or two. Let's get some money tomorrow. We require £1,000, I declared. The manager made note. I will need to talk to the London branch to confirm, you understand, he explained. The funds will be ready tomorrow morning. Sweet. Explore. I spent a few hours in exploration, learning ways in which we might travel onwards. Yep, nothing. Before turning in for the night, I helped the kitchen staff to clean. Let's get some money. Earning £56, as well as discovering from her that traders in Agra will pay far more than they should for hammers from Omsk. Most intriguing. We gotta wait for the bank. Bank. We collected our funds from the bank and the manager wished us well. Sweet. Yeah, no, we don't want to take that one. Alright, one more day. We took a room and settled in, and I afforded my master. I engaged another guest in conversation to learn what I could. Hearing from traders in Pyongyang will pay fantastic amounts for emeralds from Omsk. Depart. Omsk. Yeah, no, we need to get far. There we go. Embark. This is going to be a very trying thing for him and his attention. The bell in the stuccoed and whitewashed Moscow station gave its third and final clang, and the platform erupted into a frenzy. A rough-shawled peasant woman, convicts in the prison cars, we boarded this. A rough-shawled peasant woman wept freely as they kissed their immigrating sons and daughters goodbye, while businessmen and prospectors in smart fur-trimmed coats slipped money to their provenance to secure their compartments. I did the same as we found ourselves in a small cabin with heated water and even a shaving mirror. Nice. Agent Sybil captured French double agent blamed for operatives' loss. That was me. Sorry. Oh. We were away. I was affixed to the window the first day. I familiarized myself with the train's layout. The last two carriages were heavily guarded prison cars, then fourth class, then third, and so on, with amenities scattered between passenger cars. The smoking room was beside the dining car, plushly decked in Moorish fashion with low seats. I sat myself down and shared a cigar with a Russian businessman who told me that you could pick up hunting rifles in Hong Kong, extremely valuable in Batavia. It is good to see that wherever one goes, the conversations one has are much the same. My bed that night swayed along with the motion of the train. From Moscow to Krymskaya was a journey of over 5,000 miles, and we had only just begun. And converse. Our fellow passengers were a mix of convicts, political radicals, prospectors, businessmen, and military officers. In the midst of this was young Lady Rosa, modishly dressed, wearing a bored expression, as she harangued by her formidable maman. I made her acquaintance, only too easily. She was desperate for a sympathetic ear, and told me her great secret. She had fallen in love with a peasant boy in 4th class called Chick, by which I understood that they had shared a glance of extreme passion in the baggage car. To be so young again, utter foolishness, I promised to give her aid. To be so young again, I resolved to keep an eye on their burgeoning locomotive romance. We crossed the Volga in the early afternoon, crawling slowly over a bridge perched on high stone pillars. The devout Russians stood. It was a muddy. The devout Russians stood and crossed themselves by looking out over the water. I could just hear the lilting, rhythmic, oar-beating songs of the Volga boatmen over the whistle of steamboats. Let's give him some attention. Aw, only 81. We crossed the Urals today. At the risk of sounding like a jaded traveler, I must admit that they were hardly magnificent. Heaving up of earth and forested hills for a few hundred miles. We stopped for an hour at Ekaterinburg, where I joined the lively cavalry officers as they ate smoked fish and played music to accompany their repast. One of them enjoyed me to play his balalaika, a kind of triangular mandolin. I accepted eagerly and strummed a few notes to familiarize myself with the unaccustomed instrument. Once happy with its function, I played a familiar favorite or new Gilbert and Sullivan tune, which I had the luck to hear performed in Paris before I entered into Monsieur Fogg's service. The officers struggled to keep up with the words, but upon a second repeat, nearly the entirety of the Ekaterinburg station restaurant boomed out the chorus lines. In short, in matters vegetable, animal, and mineral, I am the very model of a man. I am the very model of a man. I can't say that. I am the very model of a modern Major General. The officers were so pleased by my performance that they very generously made me a gift of that very same balalaika. I cannot wait to play it for Monsieur Fogg. In short, it matters vegetable, animal, and mineral. I am very model of a modern Major General. I remember that now. Done. The balalaika should fetch a good price in San Francisco if we don't find a use for it. Nice. Oops, I missed the... There we are. Converse. Greetings, Madame Palavrenchki. May I see your ticket and how? I despise this job. Yeah, we already know that one. Chien? Do you realize that the quickest way to Chien from here is through San Francisco? Do you realize that you can buy wax cylinders inscribed with music in San Francisco? Sell them in Regina. Nice. How do these, like, Russian people know about train trips in, like, America? Omsk. Time on board trains takes on a meditative quality. Let's see. I visited the library car, or danced library car. We'll go slow for now. And met Golan, the daughter of a Mongol chieftain, who was poring over a thick volume of algebra. I lamented my lack of mathematical ability aloud, and she laughed. I must study algebra if I am to be an engineer in the Imperial Army of Russia. I wish to leave behind my ancestors' warrior past. It's a new world, I observed. We may remake ourselves as we like. She laughed delighted. Just so. She folded the book close. You have traveled, monsieur. They call us barbarians, don't they? She asked. I felt sorry for her. Let's see. I felt sorry for her. They do. Who are they? They do, I agreed. But they would not if they saw you studying. She leaned forward, eyes shining. The truth is, there is more going on in my country than most outsiders know. We are growing fast as a people. What do you mean? I asked, intrigued. This is the age of progress, she replied, tapping her books, of systems and of thermodynamics. And my people, we have discovered some very interesting things. I was intrigued or skeptical. Intrigued, and leaned forward to hear more. But the girl shook her head. I won't tell you, she said, and laughed. I will show you tomorrow night on the deck. I will be there, I nodded. We conversed until supper, and she presented me with her family's soldi, a Mongolian horsetail banner. I do not have any need of my past where I am going, she said. You have it. Do with it as you will. The character is now organized. Sweet. The Mongols should fetch a good price in Yokohama. Today we cannon a full score of... we don't want to go on the platform. British, Dutch, and German merchants, and took on more military officers who cleared an entire first-class carriage for the use of a mysterious couple. I caught a brief glimpse of the man, the woman. Let's go the man this time. Before the carriage door slammed, he had a pale brown skin and eyes of a scholar, but was dressed in the fashion of an Ottoman court rather than the Russian Imperium. I was fairly overset with curiosity, but it would be several days before I encountered the couple again. The hour grew late, and my meeting with Golan, the mathematician, approached. Monsieur Fogg watched my bustling about our cabin with suspicion. You look as though you are planning an escape, he remarked. I think I am meeting someone. I think perhaps stretch my legs. Let's tell the truth. I am truthful. I am meeting someone. Monsieur Fogg's eyebrows twitched in that manner of his, but he said nothing, returning to his newspaper. I breathed a sigh of relief and hurried from the cabin to meet Goland on the viewing platform of the train. You came, she said. I am glad. As am I. She looked at my eyes for a moment, then smiled quickly. Taking my hand, she walked along the edge of the rail, the wind tugging her hair into the wild dance. The train's lamp was a single candle in an endless night. Lifting my hand past her cheek, she pointed my finger out into the desert. There! I saw nothing except evening stars. I shook my head and Golan laughed. There! She exclaimed. How many stars do you know that move? She was right. One gleaming dot on the dark horizon was lifting upwards. Golan squeezed my hand. The star is the Garuda, launching through my... It flies at night to keep it secret, but now you know it. What is the Garuda? I asked. The world has been made small by airships, Golan replied. They pull everyone closer together, but our Garuda is still faster. Still, it will turn this world into a single teeming city, and Urga will be at this new world's heart. It sounds most formidable, I told her. Now you see why I'm studying, she replied. Everything about this new world will be different, and I will help shape it. Let's see, I do not doubt it. You will rise like that star, I told her. Flatterer, her dark eyes flashed with hot anger. A moment later, she stood on her tiptoes and leaned forward and took a step. And leaned forward. Out there on the deck of the remarkable train with the endless Russian night bitterly cold, the Lady Steeps kissed me. Oh! Let's see. Oh. At breakfast, I was collared by an elderly officer with gold epaulets, zigzagged with silver, a major general. I started to make hasty apologies for last night's song, believing him to be gravely offended, but he only wished clarification on certain lyrical points, which I was only too happy to provide. As the sun set over the Tiger, Monsieur Fogg expressed a mild boredom with the monotonous view from the carriage windows. My own feelings were quite different as I stared across that wild view, a view I liked so much that once night had fallen, I went to stretch my legs on the viewing platform for the second night in a row. Let's see. We're there. That was a pretty quick train. We reached the magnificent Angara Valley that holds the mining camp of Irkutsk. We disembarked as per our tickets. Yeah, we'll get off as our tickets say. Monsieur Fogg looked somewhat more perturbed than usual by the bleak surroundings as the train pulled away. I wondered if we had made a terrible mistake. I saw Golan disembarking with her suitcase of books and struggling under the weight. I rushed to her aid, but she brushed my help aside. "Janitor, sir," she murmured, "but I cannot be seen to be helped by a Frenchman." I stood back, stung, and watched as she met a man on the platform, an uncle perhaps, who scooped her up with great familiarity and led her away to a horse, parked neatly in the yard beyond. Then she was gone. Oh, my love. Alright, we're going to go to Beijing tomorrow at 10. Sweet. And we'll explore quickly, and then I think I'll leave it at that for the episode. It was a surprisingly beautiful town and packed with so many churches that one could not look up the street corner without seeing a dome or a steeple. We explored, entering the city across the bridge made of tethered boats. My acrobatic skills made the crossing easy, but Monsieur Fogg found it a most unpleasant business, and once across, refused to return to the other bank. On the street corner across the water, we saw a group of soldiers stop to turn face the sun, praying barehanded. There is a steady calm. The people here act as though. There is a steady calm about this place. The people are both devout and poor, despite the gold that flows through the city every day on its way to St. Petersburg. The barges of precious metal. The barges of precious metal are fast, but no good to us, as they are heading the wrong way. I kept looking for Golan as we walked around the wooden pavements, but did not see her. I supposed that she had been whisked away by horse caravan into the deserts to the south. Perhaps the sight of the mysterious Garuda would persuade Monsieur Fogg. Perhaps it was for the best. Fast trains are liable to stir passions that do not look so well advised in the cold light of morning to follow. Aww. And we'll leave it there for today on our adventure around the world. Thanks everybody for tuning in, and I will see you next time.